Right now at 6, heavy rain leads to flash flooding and evacuations in Seneca. We'll break down what you need to know. Plus, a Korean War veteran's remains are home in Coffeyville, and a funeral is being held today for Private First Class Bill Hobbs. Also, members of the James River Church partner with Joplin Schools for their day of service, and we're taking you to a mini expo in Joplin.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Heavy rains and strong storms lead to flash flooding and evacuations in the area. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Chris Warner. We go straight to meteorologist Nick Kelly for the latest.
Yeah, at times last night, Chris, the storms to start the evening out was capable of producing some strong storms, severe weather too, but at least we got a little bit of a break in the action from 7th and Rangeline. But let me tell you, the storms last night through this morning, if they weren't severe, they were packing plenty of heavy rainfall. On the average, the entire area picking up 3 inches. But needless to say, if you just got swamped with heavy rainfall after a round of heavy rainfall, some of our northern counties and right around Seneca, radar amounts pushing between 5 and 10 inches of rain. So it's no surprise we still have flood warnings and flash flood watches to take us at the very latest into tomorrow. But even though we were quiet for much of the afternoon, still seeing a few echoes popping up for over areas that don't need any more rain. And additionally, with our storm system still on top of us, we will hold on, unfortunately, to rain chances again as we go through the evening and into tomorrow. At least we're a bit warm, cooler than yesterday by far, lower 80s across the board, and it's going to be a slow drop off in temperatures through the 80s, 70s, down to the upper 60s for tonight. We'll see how much more rain's on the way and how long it's going to stick around here in a bit, Chris.
All right, Nick, thank you. And those heavy rains led to flash flooding in the area, as Nick mentioned, resulting in some voluntary evacuations in Seneca. The Lost Creek in Seneca began to rise rapidly this morning, with the Seneca Area Fire Protection District and the Seneca Police Chief taking to social media, notifying people that evacuations were underway. Officials were going around the community and evacuating people as needed.
My friend Mike Steele from the funeral home called me this morning and said that water was starting to come up pretty fast and he needed some help. So I came down, we started sandbagging, getting everything, try to keep it dry. Several of the businesses in town did get a lot of water.
Now, with more rain in the forecast, officials say it's important to stay alert for those rapidly changing conditions. And a boil advisory has been issued for the city of Sarcoxy. The city posted on their Facebook page that the city's well pump had taken a hit as a result of this morning's storms, which resulted in low water pressure throughout the city. Crews are working to restore power to the pump, and until then are asking all residents to boil their water for the time being. Well, a 4-state hero is being laid to rest after missing in action for more than 60 years. Private First Class Bill Hobbs was laid to rest at Fairview Cemetery in Coffeyville, Kansas. Hobbs was killed near the Chosin Reservoir in North Korea in 1950 at the age of 20. His body was not recovered, and he was considered missing in action for 68 years. It wouldn't be until 2018, after a summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, that 55 boxes with American remains were released to the U.S. Hobbs's remains were in the 50th box.
I'm feeling pretty good because I find out that he has a lot more friends. But I'm glad he's home. It's been a long time getting here.
The services were held on the Veterans Memorial Patio at Fairview Cemetery. Tonight at 10, we'll hear more from Bill's brother, Charles Hobbs. And we do take this time now to honor Charles Hobbs, our 4-state hero tonight. He served with the Army in Korea. His hometown is originally South Coffeyville, Oklahoma. And we're proud to recognize Private First Class Bill Hobbs, tonight's 4-state hero. And of course, remember, to view all of our heroes or nominate one of your own, all you need to do is head over to our website at koamnewsnow.com. More than 200 volunteers from the James River Church in Joplin worked to make a difference for the Joplin School District. Volunteers worked on painting the Roy S. Wood campus at 15th and Connecticut. James River has been doing the day of service for the past 3 years that they've been in Joplin. This year, they picked the Joplin School District as the group they wanted to help.
The way it works is we come to the district and we say, how can we help you this year? What are projects you'd like to do, but maybe it's not in your budget to do it, or maybe you just don't have the time, and we bring in volunteers and we knock out those projects for them in a single day.
Now, despite the wet weather, work also included landscaping at the campus and a deep cleaning of the district's 70-plus buses. Well, Collectors Unite. Today was the third annual Joplin Collectors Expo, the first, though, since the pandemic, and they had their first mini expo that they've ever tried. The mini expo was held at Cecil Floyd Elementary School in Joplin. More than 20 vendors were on hand, showcasing a variety of very unique collectible items. A few people even dressed up for the event. Organizers say they wanted to start small after last year's pause.
Since we haven't had one, I just kind of wanted to have a smaller one and see how it went. And this is strictly vendors, so the bigger show will have like a cosplay contest, battle bots, and stuff like that.
Now, Miller says that they're hoping to have that bigger show this October. Folks in Nevada, Missouri lucked out today as the wet weather didn't ruin the fun at the town's first ever Pride Festival. There was a ton of cool stuff for visitors to check out, including local vendors, local food, and activities for the kids, and a whole lot more. But one of the co-hosts tells us she's really happy with the festival's turnout because the people who attend are what truly make it special.
I just thought it was really important that we do something like a festival to not only unite our community, but to show especially the younger kids that they're not alone. There's a ton of us out here. There's a ton of love and support. Nevada as a city has come so far and is growing in such a progressive direction, and we just wanted to come out here today and celebrate that.
Organizers say they want to make the Nevada Pride Festival an annual tradition. Topping Nation Watch today, rescuers are battling against time, weather, and now fire at the scene of a deadly condo collapse in Surfside, Florida. 4 deaths have been confirmed and 159 people are still unaccounted for. CBS News correspondent Manuel Borquez reports from Surfside.
A fire beneath the rubble of the collapsed Surfside condo building is hampering rescue efforts.
It's a very deep fire. It's extremely difficult to locate the source of the fire.
On day 3 of the aftermath of the collapse, Miami-Dade Mayor Daniela Levine Cava says finding survivors remains the focus.
Our top priority now continues to be search and rescue. We're looking for people alive in the rubble. That is our priority, and our teams have not stopped.
Rescuers deployed infrared technology, water, and foam to fight the fire, with the blaze's source not clear on Saturday.
As we're moving debris, as the smoke is increasing, we still haven't come across anything along the sign of life.
While search and rescue efforts continue, people are visiting this makeshift memorial, where many flyers with those missing also include prayers. Among those who are unaccounted for, Ilan Nebrief and Deborah Berizdivine, both just 21 years old. Ilan's parents say the couple was in town for a funeral.
He slept there just to be closer to the funeral the day after.
As investigators work to determine what caused the collapse, an engineer's report from 2018 found abundant cracking in concrete columns, beams, and walls in the building's parking garage, and major structural damage to a concrete structural slab caused by failed waterproofing. The report indicated if not repaired in a timely fashion, it would cause the concrete to deteriorate exponentially. But the report did not indicate those issues could lead to a collapse. Manuel Borquez, CBS News, Surfside, Florida.
Now, Miami-Dade County officials say they are beginning a 30-day audit of buildings 40 years or older to ensure they're safe. And that's a look at our top stories and a quick check of the forecast on the KOAM News at 6. Coming up, we're taking a look back at the week's top medical stories, and the FDA adds a warning to the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. Topping Health Watch, the childbirth risk for women with migraines and regaining that sense of smell for COVID patients. Elise Preston has some of the week's top health stories.
Most people who lose their sense of smell with COVID-19 gain it back. French researchers looked at 50 patients and found about half recovered their sense of smell at 4 months, and nearly all recovered by 1 year. Women who suffer from migraines may face a higher risk of complications during and after pregnancy. A study in Israel finds migraine patients are more likely to be diagnosed with gestational diabetes and blood clots. They're also at higher risk for depression both during pregnancy and after giving birth. And new research shows middle school sports have an overall higher rate of concussion than high school and college. The study in the Journal of the National Athletic Trainers Association finds the highest concussion rates were found in football, girls soccer, and wrestling. Those are some of the week's top health stories. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
The FDA is warning about rare cases of heart inflammation from the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines. On Friday, it added a note about myocarditis and pericarditis to fact sheets for those vaccines. The CDC has confirmed about a quarter of the 1,200 reported cases. It says most of the patients are young men and adolescents who develop inflammation after the second dose. One pediatric cardiologist tells Vaccine Advisors patients seem to recover quickly. Well, later on the KOAM News at 6, a man takes on a daring feat.
Plus, we are not done with our rain chances, even though it will keep us cooler than normal for the week ahead. We'll break down our forecast next. We had to deal with some strong to severe storms, especially late yesterday afternoon into last night, but during the overnight and into this morning, holy cow, the heavens just opened up with a lot of heavy rainfall, leading to impressive amounts just within a span of 12 to 18 hours. 2.8 inches on the average, according to radar estimates across the entire region. But if we zoom in on the areas that got hit really hard with heavy rainfall, these numbers are impressive even if you go by radar estimates. Around 7 to 9 inches stretching from almost Sarcoxie back to Seneca, near Afton, Wyandotte, Fairland, and a couple areas near 6 to 8 inches around Bonita, and then the northern half of the viewing area from Pittsburgh all the way up to about Butler, Mound City, Iola, Yates Center. These are amounts ranging between 4 and 7 inches of rainfall, so it's no surprise we have flood warnings still ongoing where the greens really pop until tomorrow at the latest, and everybody else still under flood or flash flood watches because we're not done with our rain chances just yet. While we did get a bit of a break in the action for much of this afternoon, the radar has been picking up on a few little areas of showers, maybe a few random storms, but this is going to expand and cover most of us up once again as we go into tonight and our Sunday. At least we get a nice looking view from 7th and Rangeline at 616. It's 83 in Joplin, a southwest wind of 13. Feels like 88 though with that dew point sitting in the lower 70s. Everybody warm, but cooler, quite a bit cooler compared to yesterday where we saw highs back in the mid 90s. We're in the lower to middle 80s now, but you factor in the humidity, it feels like the upper 80s to lower 90s, and a very slow drop off in temperatures relatively speaking. Lower 80s until 8 o'clock, 73 by midnight, down into the upper 60s tonight underneath mostly cloudy skies, and rain and thunderstorm chances eager to ramp up once again. At least we're not alone in dealing with it. This is a part of a storm system that's spawning severe weather down in western Texas, more severe weather around Chicago, working through Indiana and parts of the Great Lakes, all because of this front. It is not in a hurry to move along. When you couple that with so many upper level waves, especially this upper low, that's going to hang around as well throughout much of next week. This is just setting us up for more rain that I'm sure some of you don't need any more of. Unfortunately, as we run you through your future track forecast, what starts out this evening as maybe a couple isolated widely scattered storms, we're expecting the rain chances to ramp up overnight. Not expecting anything severe. We'll still keep an eye on that just in case, but I think the strongest of these storms, kind of like what they did this morning. Pockets of moderate to heavy rainfall working through once again. Maybe a little slight downtick in the rain chances by noon tomorrow, but we'll still continue with scattered thunderstorms, with some with heavy rainfall underneath mostly cloudy skies. With any dry time, we should be able to warm up some. 69 in the morning, 78 by noon, highs topping out around 83. And we'll hold on to maybe a few scatter storms Sunday night going into Monday. And as long as that front's still around, the upper level is still active, this is just going to keep those rain chances in the forecast. So within just the next 2 days alone, anywhere from ½ an inch to maybe 3 inches. And of course, any heavier pockets on the way could certainly mean some higher amounts that we need to keep an eye on. As far as temperatures go, at least that's one good thing that this front's doing, is keeping us warm but below normal. 83 tomorrow, 84 Monday, lower to middle 80s all the way through Friday. Hopefully by Saturday and going into the holiday weekend, Chris, the system will move on and we'll finally get a good chance to dry out.
To say nice temperatures, but rain that we don't need. Something to remind folks of is that turn around, don't drown.
Yeah, we'll all need to keep an eye on our rain chances over the next few days.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. Well, we've got one local athlete that's headed to Tokyo for the Paralympic Games.
Yes, and we'll hear her thoughts on achieving a long-term dream coming up. Plus, the Cardinals pretty desperate to pick up a division win today against the Pirates. Those highlights and more next. Carthage's Haven Shepherd is headed to Tokyo. The 18-year-old spent last weekend at a meet in Minneapolis and at its conclusion found out she was named to the Women's Paralympic Swim Team. Shepherd will be competing in the 100-meter breaststroke and the 200 IM. She's training here at home for the next handful of weeks before she leaves for Tokyo on August 15th. Here's her thoughts on realizing this long-sought-after goal.
It was just crazy. It was just such a surreal moment. You know, you always prepare yourself for the worst, and then it turned out to be the best, and I just couldn't process it. It's starting to all hit me now that I'm home. Like, I was at that training camp for 3 days, and I got home, and it was pretty late, and I just sat in my room, and I was like, wow, like, I did it. Like, it actually happened. So, yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it.
Shepherd says her goal in Tokyo is to just have fun and do her best. The Outlaws spend another week at the top of the South Division. Their record is now 9-6. Joplin hasn't played since Tuesday due to the rainy weather over the past few days, but tonight they are back on the field. The Outlaws begin a 2-game road series against the St. Joe Mustangs tonight at 7. The struggling Cardinals have dropped their last 5 games, including the first 2 games in their home series against the Pirates. The division matchup continues today. 2 men on, Yadier Molina knocks one through the gap for a base hit. Now that sends Dylan Carlson home from second. He makes it in plenty of time, Cards up 1-0. Next inning, Paul DeYoung sends this one over the wall in left, solo home run. The Pirates will do the same. Gregory Polanco with a homer to cut the Cardinals' lead in half. And then Paul Goldschmidt gets home run number 11, but wait, 470 feet this ball travels. Absolutely crushed it, and Cardinals win 3-1. The Royals down in Texas through the weekend, looking to even up the series against the Rangers here in Game 2. Kansas City getting shut out right now, down 6-0 late in the game. The Royals unfortunately inching closer to what would be their 4th straight loss. They'll get one more shot against the Rangers on Sunday.
Well, at least they're up, and that's a plus.
No, they're down.
They're down?
6-0, they're losing. Not looking good right now.
No, it's not. Well, we'll blame Nick just because. Danny, thank you so much. We're going to be right back right after this. Coming up tonight at 10, we'll have the latest on the flooding in the area from this morning's heavy rain. Plus, we're going to take you to the Roy S. Wood campus in Joplin for the day of service from James River Church, and Nevada holds its Pride Fest. We'll take you there. Those stories and a lot more tonight at 10, and hopefully I'll get some better reading skills. Well, your heart might race a little when you watch this next video. It's just another day on the job for these brave souls in Manhattan. Thursday morning, they were spotted scaling New York City's Chrysler building over 1,000 feet in the air. No, thank you. They were doing routine maintenance on the spire while tethered to safety harnesses, as you can see. But that is just a little too high for me. I mean, this desk platform is high enough. That's really way too high.
Yeah, even if you have 1,000 harnesses strapped to you, no,
that's not happening. No, thank you. No, thank you. Danny, would you do it?
A roller coaster is one thing. That's just a whole nother level.
1,000 feet's a little too much?
No.
Final check of that forecast.
Quick recap of some scattered rain and storms will start to ramp up again tonight, and they'll continue again tomorrow with highs near 83.
Thank you, Nick. Final check of sports.
We'll have the full story on Haven Shepherd up on KOAMnewsnow.com.
All right. Nick, Danny, thank you. And thank you for making time for us tonight. Remember, we're always on at KOAMnewsnow.com and with our app. And thanks for making us part of your night.
Salon service is provided by